Yo, I'm gonna be honest with you. He played a mental game with Drake, a mental game of chess, where he convinced Drake, yo, all them songs like push-ups where you're just popping shit, not gonna work. You're gonna have to get cerebral with me and start thinking.
Yeah.
Drake's viral onstage meltdown hasn't even cooled off, and Kendrick Lamar wasted no time striking back. In what fans are calling the final nail in the coffin, Kendrick turned his Los Angeles show into a live battlefield. Mid-performance, he stopped, smirked, and dropped a line that sent shockwaves. "We don't break down on stage, we break records." The crowd erupted, instantly catching that he was clowning Drake's emotional slip in Amsterdam. Phones went up, clips flooded Twitter and TikTok, and within minutes, fans were declaring Kendrick had officially claimed the crown. What made it even wilder was that he didn't need a diss track this time. No heavy bars, no 7-minute lyrical takedowns, just pure timing and confidence that landed like a global mic drop. Meanwhile, Drake's camp has stayed completely silent. That silence is only fueling the narrative that he's got nothing left. Fans are pointing out the contrast loud and clear. One artist cracking under the weight of fame, while the other stands calm, sharp, and untouchable. Momentum is now tilting hard toward Kendrick, and hip-hop fans are asking a question no one thought would come this soon. Is this war already over? Breaking reports suggest Drake's inner circle and Die Hard. Supporters are scrambling behind the scenes, and the whispers don't look good for Team Drizzy. With tensions rising, it feels like his camp is grasping for a desperate next move. The stage is set for one of the wildest chapters hip-hop has ever seen. Drake, once hailed as rap's golden boy, is now being dragged online as the ultimate Karen, twisting a rap beef into something nobody expected, a messy obsession with DNA tests. What began as lyrical shots has spiraled out of control. Now it's lawsuits, family drama, and credibility questions tearing at the core of rap culture. This isn't just beef anymore. It's the public unraveling of an image that took years to build.
If it wasn't for Pusha T, Drake and Kendrick might have never had a beef. Back in 2018, when Pusha T and Drake had a beef, Pusha exposed that Drake had a son who he was keeping a secret, and the internet decided Drake had lost that battle. And after this, Drake made his boundaries clear.
I'm sure I could say something about, your lovely lady or, a child or a family member, and you're just gonna wanna not really rap anymore.
Yeah.
But having learned his lesson from the Pusha T beef, Drake decided to not let Kendrick get the best of him and name-dropped his fiance on his song Push-Ups.
I be with some bodyguards like Whitney, top say drop your little midget ass, better fucking.
And then each of them went back and forth with one more diss track, but then Drake decided to unload the clip and this whole beef became about dirt about each other's family lives.
Why you never hold your son and tell him say cheese? We could've left the kids out of this, don't blame me.
So without Pusha T, Drake probably would have never brought up Kendrick's family, and this beef may not have escalated the way that it did. What do you think? Let me know and follow for all updates.
People are openly asking if Drake has lost touch with the soul of hip-hop. Instead of standing tall through music, his every move feels like a personal revenge play. Petty, desperate, and completely off-brand for a superstar of his stature. As his legacy grows cloudier by the day, the fallout is shaking the culture itself. Rap battles have always been settled with bars, not lawyers. Meanwhile, Kendrick and his crew remain cool, calculated, and unbothered. Their silence and sharp timing highlight the contrast. One man spiraling into chaos while the other keeps rising through pure artistry. That difference is exactly why fans are saying this war may already be finished. This week feels like a turning point, a historic moment when an empire built on smoke and mirrors collides with an opponent standing on solid ground, rooted in credibility and respect. What started as just another rap feud has become the ultimate test of who belongs on the right side of hip-hop history, and who's exposing themselves as a fraud. The weight of this clash can't be overstated. It's bigger than two rappers trading shots. It's about the culture itself, about decades of artistry and the unspoken rules that built hip-hop into what it is today. Yet instead of rising to the moment, Drake's camp is spiraling, tossing out family photos, dragging wives and kids into the mess, and trying to manufacture gotcha moments that fans are flat out calling pathetic. Behind the scenes, it's just piles of paperwork, legal theatrics, and empty drama meant to keep the fire alive. But without substance, it's all smoke with no flame. Meanwhile, Kendrick's side refuses to step into the circus. No messy social media rants, no courtroom distractions, just pure focus on the music. And that's where the knockout came. Not like us. The record didn't just win the moment, it became the anthem of this entire war. Fans, peers, even industry veterans point to that track as proof of where the real power lives, while Drake's unraveling plays out for the world to see.
But I wonder if he had this song in the tuck the whole time. Like, this song is a bop. I'm telling you.
He's amazing at making music.
Yo,
He mentions Family Matters in the song. So it leads you to believe either Drake does have the leak and he got Family Matters early, or that motherfucking microwave.
Every humiliating stunt Drake pulls to drag this beef into places rap never needed to go only pushes fans closer to Kendrick's defining anthem. The louder Drake's chaos gets, the more people press play on the very record that flipped the entire battle upside down. And that's the sting. While his antics spiral into wild DNA test talk, the culture has already made its decision loud and clear. The truth is simple. Music will always drown out lawsuits, paperwork, and desperate distractions. Not Like Us is living proof. The track keeps exploding on the charts, cementing itself as one of the most dominant hip-hop hits in recent memory. Every stream, every chant in the crowd is the culture's way of declaring who really won. No lawyers needed. And here's the part that burns Drake the most. No bots, no shady tricks, no industry machines pumping numbers. This is pure demand. The people chose it. The response is organic, powerful, and impossible to fake. Kendrick dropped a record and the world answered. For Drake's diehards, watching this unfold is brutal. Every attempt to spin the story, every weak defense only fuels more embarrassment. What was meant to save his image has backfired in real time, with every meltdown boosting the very track he wanted erased. The irony is ruthless. The more Drake lashes out, the bigger Kendrick's victory becomes. Drake keeps dragging this conflict into strange, messy territory, and the public's response couldn't be clearer. Instead of slowing down, Not Like Us just keeps climbing higher. Louder and stronger across every chart and playlist, the irony is brutal. Kendrick doesn't need to force numbers or fake hype. Drake's own desperate antics are fueling the anthem's dominance. This is the undeniable split between the two camps. On one side, endless rants, chaotic posts, and messy statements flooding timelines, dripping with desperation. On the other, Kendrick's camp doesn't even need to speak. The music does all the talking. Fans keep pressing play, proving that authenticity wins every time. As paperwork and courtroom drama fade into background noise, every distraction Drake throws out only makes the anthem stronger. Each meltdown, each attempt to shift focus, pushes listeners right back to Kendrick's record, the very song defining this entire war. The contrast couldn't be clearer. One side delivering real rap, the other tangled in gimmicks and theatrics. Side by side, the comparison is almost embarrassing. Kendrick Lamar stands tall, calculated, professional, building a legacy with clarity and precision. Meanwhile, Drake, now branded by many as the Karen of rap, keeps dragging the culture into circus-like territory, chasing empty validation while his rival locks in timeless dominance. For Drake, every move becomes another loss. His tactics don't rewrite the story. They just trap his followers in a fantasy, forcing them to pretend the battle never happened. Instead of flipping the narrative, Drake's strategy keeps backfiring, cementing him as the desperate one chasing validation while the walls close in. Kendrick, meanwhile, couldn't move any differently. Professionalism defines everything he does. He just wrapped the European leg of his massive national tour, 39 straight performances. Critics are already calling one of the greatest live runs in hip-hop history. While Drake drags family members into the drama, Kendrick refuses to touch that dirt. His focus has stayed locked on the music, proving that real artistry doesn't need courtroom papers, social media tantrums, or personal distractions. Through discipline, performance, and clarity, Kendrick is showing what hip-hop has always been built on: respect, skill, and cultural truth. And in the middle of all the noise, he just pulled off something no other rapper has achieved. Not even Drake, the so-called Karen of rap, has come close. The love and respect pouring in tell the story on their own. ZA and Mustard, who stood by him throughout the run, publicly thanked him for letting them play such a vital role, performing side by side night after night. The accomplishment is historic, unfolding as his rival unravels. The contrast couldn't be louder. One artist rewriting history, while the other clings to excuses. Kendrick's tour has now been crowned by many as the biggest rap tour in history.
It was not like Jigsaw on the record. Yo, really need this, really need that. I know something about.
Versatility
Hey,
bonkers.
hey, are you ready now to play? Have you ever? Like, I'm like, what the fuck is this guy doing? And then all of a sudden, when I'm thinking, all right, cool, like, I'm ready to put my thinking hat on for the next joint, he's like, fuck that, we back in the club. I'm like, what?
It was
And the
brilliant,
joint
though.
is fire.
It's brilliant.
And now, the undisputed tour of the summer. City after city, stage after stage. Every crowd has added to a tidal wave of momentum that only keeps growing stronger. Fans, peers, and critics alike have poured overwhelming praise on Kendrick. And through it all, he hasn't wavered once. No gimmicks, no theatrics, just pure artistry cutting through all the noise around him. This is exactly what Kendrick meant when he said, "You can try to manipulate the game, but you cannot fake authenticity." Right now, the proof is playing out in real time. As Drake's chaos weakens and the circus fades, the genuine love for Kendrick's work only floods in louder. The power lies with real people pressing play. Because they feel it, not because they've been manipulated into it. That's why the narrative has shifted so dramatically. While Drake fuels distractions, courtroom drama, and sideshow meltdowns, Kendrick is celebrated for discipline, skill, and authenticity. The music keeps speaking louder than any stunt, louder than any smear attempt. And let's be honest, long before Drake dragged this feud into legal theatrics, the unraveling had already begun. Reckless talk, sloppy rollouts, and wild behavior had fans questioning his stability. It's the picture of an artist spiraling, while another is out here building history in real time. To make it worse, Drake has been clinging to the bizarre. Pinocchio, nickname for Kendrick, a childish jab no one takes seriously. Kendrick barely even posts online. But his message is clear. Every insult becomes fuel. The contrast couldn't be sharper. One man unraveling, the other cementing his legacy. Kendrick sees everything. Yet none of Drake's desperate theatrics faze him. While Drake delivers long, rant-filled monologues about Kendrick during his own shows, Kendrick's silence cuts louder than any words. And that silence is eating Drake alive, pushing him into more outbursts, more reckless moves, and more self-inflicted damage to his image. In today's era, where embarrassment spreads online in seconds, every misstep becomes magnified and meme-worthy. Kendrick knows this. That's why his refusal to step into the clown show is so powerful. Since Like That shook the world, his focus hasn't shifted. No petty IG rants, no Twitter meltdowns, no chasing headlines, just music, pure artistry, and a message that speaks for itself. The contrast is brutal. On one side, Drake spiraling into courtroom fantasies, DNA test drama, and circus-level theatrics hip-hop has never seen. On the other, Kendrick refusing to waste energy on anything outside the craft, letting the records and performances speak, and doing it at the absolute highest level. That difference is why the culture has clearly aligned behind Kendrick. His restraint and discipline radiate strength, while Drake's obsession with stunts only exposes desperation. In a battle of legacies, one side is building history while the other risks becoming a cautionary tale. Strip away the noise, and the reality is clear. Authenticity always outweighs spectacle. Kendrick Lamar remains locked in on the art, running his legendary streak, without letting the Karen noise pull him off course. He only addresses the drama when it naturally ties into his story. That discipline is exactly what keeps hip-hop elevated instead of diminished. Every move he makes pushes the culture forward, rooted in 100% authenticity. No gimmicks, no shortcuts, just pure craft. His silence speaks louder than any rant-filled monologue. It shows persistence, vision, and an unshakable devotion to music. By refusing to spiral into clown antics, Kendrick preserves the foundation of hip-hop while carrying it to even greater heights. Meanwhile, the other side of this feud has devolved into a circus, chaos unraveling in real time, dragging the culture down with every desperate stunt. In contrast, Kendrick shines as a beacon of creativity. Even as his personal life gets dragged into court filings, even as his family is named in paperwork, he doesn't stumble. If anything, it only proves how far the desperation has gone on one side and how unshaken true artistry remains on the other. What Drake's camp doesn't seem to understand is that every attempt to tear Kendrick down only fuels him more. Each attack becomes fresh inspiration, more fire, and more motivation to deliver bigger records, timeless verses, and a deeper stamp on the culture. Nothing, no lawsuit, no smear attempt, no circus act can stop the momentum he's building right now. As this rivalry escalates, the entire hip-hop world is watching a clash that feels bigger than music itself. This isn't just another beef. This is legacy versus spectacle, artistry versus desperation. On one side stands Kendrick Lamar, disciplined, controlled, and devoted to the craft. On the other, Drake has turned himself into the epicenter of chaos, hiding behind lawsuits and theatrics instead of verses. The contrast is so glaring that fans and even industry veterans are calling this one of the defining chapters in rap history. Kendrick's tours, records, and global performances unite crowds across continents, reminding everyone why music will always be the heartbeat of hip-hop. Meanwhile, Drake's fixation on paperwork, contracts, and bizarre accusations is transforming him into a cautionary tale of what happens when ego smothers creativity. Insiders are already whispering that this strategy could destroy him in the long run. Labels are watching closely, because if Drake somehow normalizes weaponizing lawsuits against diss records, it could shake the very foundation of rap battles forever. What was once a space defined by lyrical skill, wit, and competition could be reduced to cold legal filings and censorship, an outcome many fear would damage the culture at its core. Yet in the face of this looming threat, Kendrick has laid out the blueprint for how to respond. Not with countersuits, not with angry rants, but with pure music that embodies truth. Each performance, each verse, each record reinforces the power of authenticity, proving that even when chaos surrounds him, artistry will always outweigh spectacle. Kendrick's unmatched delivery and patience prove once again that hip-hop is strongest. When it leans into authenticity, not manufactured drama, the world is watching, and with every passing move, the divide between legacy and gimmick grows wider. History is being written right in front of us, and the choice of who truly represents. The future of hip-hop is becoming clearer by the day. At this point, it's undeniable. Kendrick Lamar isn't just the greatest rapper of this generation. He's cementing himself as one of the greatest to ever touch a microphone in the history of the culture. Beyond rap, he has become one of the most important cultural figures of modern times. AI, beacon of creativity and truth whose artistry remains untouchable, no matter what circus antics get thrown his way. The stakes are no longer about a simple rap battle. This is about who carries the torch for the entire genre. On one side, Kendrick, steady, disciplined, unshaken. On the other, Drake, the so-called Karen of rap, spiraling into spectacle with lawsuits and distractions. The question now is simple. Will the noise from the courts and labels slow Kendrick down, or will it only fuel him to rise higher? Every sign points to Kendrick, staying locked in on what has always defined him, the music, the message, and the unshakable artistry that separates legends from distractions. As the dust settles, one truth rings louder than any filing, louder than any rant. Kendrick's silence and consistency carry more weight than Drake's spiraling theatrics ever could. Now it's your turn. What do you think about Kendrick's response, compared to everything being thrown at him? Do you believe Drake's Karen tactics will sink his legacy for good? Or does he still have one last desperate card to play? Drop your thoughts below. And if you made it this far, don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe, share, and hit the bell so you never miss the next deep dive into the wild twists and turns shaking hip-hop today.